Hey everybody, welcome to RPM, Rock and Pop Mandolin, your destination, your site for learning classic rock and pop songs on this wonderful little 8-stringed instrument. My name is Mike DeJong, and today I'm going to show you yet another Beatles song on RPM, and yet another classic, this one written by George Harrison, one of his great contributions to the Beatles. It comes from the Abbey Road album, and it's called Here Comes the Sun. And it's a wonderful song to play on the mando, mainly because the original version kind of sounds like a mandolin. It's capoed about halfway up the guitar neck, so it's played on really high strings on the guitar. Kind of sounds like the mando and makes for a really sweet little song to play on this instrument. So I hope you enjoy this lesson. If you are new to this channel, thank you very much for checking us out here on RPM. But don't forget to hit that little red subscriber button down there in the lower right corner before you leave us. It really helps this channel to continue to grow. If you are a returning subscriber, once again, thank you very much for your ongoing support and all of your comments. Been getting some great comments to this site as well. If you would like to support us a little bit more and get some exclusive lessons, please check out our Patreon site. The link is down in the comments below. Over on Patreon, I will be putting some instrument lessons, chords and scales and things like that, that I don't put here on the song lesson website. So please check out our Patreon page. But now, without further ado, let's take a look at this great Beatles classic written by George Harrison called Here Comes the Sun for mandolin on RPM. All right, Here Comes the Sun on RPM is really fun to play. It's in the key of A. So start off with an A chord down here at the 2nd fret of the G string and 2nd fret of the D string. All right, and for this song, I finger this A chord like that, with just one finger, like a bar chord. Try to hold down those two strings if you can, and if you can, let these two strings ring out a bit, so you can get that full A chord sound. If you can't do it, that's fine, as long as you can hit that low A note down there, because that is the key, that's the root of this song in the key of A. So the opening lick comes off of that chord, and it goes like this. All right, so what am I doing there? Well, I'm hitting off that open A chord. I'm actually not using open at the beginning. I'm putting my little finger here, my pinky finger, on the 4th fret of the A string, which makes that an A chord like this, right? By the way, you could also use your ring finger too if you like, because generally when you make that A chord, you would use your ring finger. But for this little lick in this song, I prefer to use my pinky finger, and I'll show you why right now, because I think it works really nicely on this little lick. Right, so, all right, that's your opening motif, your opening lick in this song. What is that? Well, I'm hitting the two notes in the A chord here, and then hitting that note as well, all sort of in one little sweep, like that. Did you see what I did there? I swept up to that note there, not playing the high E string, by the way. Don't play the high E string, just play these 3 lower sounding strings. So go like this. All right, that's what I did there. And the last part of that, I'm just hitting these 2 notes down here. So what are those 2 higher notes, or 3 higher notes actually? Well, as I said, 5th fret of the A string right there. It's this little pattern off the A string, starting on the 4th, open, 2, 4. So, and then open again on that A, which corresponds with this low A chord here. So one more time, like that, right? And then I come down again, I go, same notes again, just a different pattern. So, see what I did there? Okay, so again, sweep that A chord to start off with, right? So that's 4, 2, open. And then you go into what I call a partial D chord. Again, you're sweeping, which means you're just catching those notes all at once in one sort of motion like that. Right? So here I'm hitting that D chord, or I'm making a D chord at the 2nd fret again, the same note as your A chord. It's actually an A note, but here the difference is I'm not holding here, I'm holding down here at the 4th fret of the D string. So that makes it a D chord voicing. So you see how I swept those two notes up to the A string there? So right? So once again from the beginning. Yeah, and that sweep on the D is very quick. All right? And then from there, from the D chord, just shift that voicing up 2 frets. 1, 2. So now you're at the 4th fret of the G string and the 6th fret of the D string, like that. And that's an E chord. All right? The actual chord in the Beatles song is an E7, but for the mandolin, I just prefer to play these 2-finger chords. You could always play that E7 if you like by adding this finger onto the 5th fret of the A. That's an E7, but you don't have to do that. You could just do those two, and I'll show you what I mean here. So let's look at this lick again from the beginning. And then you shift to here. You can either play that whole chord there as a hammer-on from the 4th fret, or you can just play these 2 notes. Well, actually, there's 4 notes there, but these 2 notes on the D string, and then those 2 notes on the A. So it's 6, 4, 6, open, 2. Right? And then it takes you back to... Okay, so what did I do there? So that riff again, and then come down. And then the D chord again, right? Hit that partial D, and then, right? So 4, 2, open, 6, and that's on that E chord. So once again, let's take a look at that opening motif from the A. Alright, and that's the opening motif to this song. So to continue on, we go like this. Right, so we're to there. Next we do, Here Comes the Sun. Okay, so a couple of different chords there on the Here Comes the Sun part. You're still playing that A chord to start off with. Here comes the sun, right? Then you want to do off the D, right? You can do this D chord, which is kind of like a D major 7 voicing there, but what I do is I just use these 2 strings as a double stop there. So 4th fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the A string once again. So I'll show you this lick one more time. Comes the sun. Here comes the, right? So a double stop there, and here comes the sun. I can't sing that note, but so that leads into the, you know, that little part there. So one more time. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Okay, so you're just hammering on that 4th fret of the A string. You're forming this chord, and you're going to a B7 chord. There. That's a B7 voicing, all right? So D, here comes the sun. There. All right, what's that chord? Well, it's a B7. It's here at the 2nd fret, 1st fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret there. So that's a B7 voicing. And actually, that B7 voicing looks very similar to a B7 on the guitar down at the bottom of the fretboard too. So it's a very similar looking chord. It's a B7 on the mandolin, all right? So you go, here comes the sun. here comes the sun, right? And I say, it's all right, right? And I say, it's all right, right? So, again, that little lick on the A string from the 4-2 to 1. And then you finally get into this memorable little line that goes, right? So what is all that? Well, again, it's just from the D string. You hit the D only the first time. Then the rest of the time, you just hit these 3 notes. From the 4th fret here to the open A to the 2nd fret on the A string, right? And you just have to practice that lick to get it down. But just hit the D the first time here. D, F sharp, A, B. So you come down after doing, you come down, so that's A flat, G flat, there. So A, open, 6, 4, open D, A chord again. So, like that. So, right, and then right away after you hit that A chord down here, you're back up to that little lick again from the 4th to the open to the 2. So, okay, and then you throw in this little lick, which is actually over the E7 chord. So that's from 6, 4, 6, open, 2. So one more time, that whole, here comes the sun, here comes the sun, it's all right. And noticed I paused a little bit, where pause right there before you throw in that last little lick. Okay, those are the main verses and choruses for this song, but there's also a bridge part that's really, really cool. Happens near the end of the song, and it's cool but difficult because the Beatles change up the time signature a little bit, and that can throw you off. It's really tricky. So once you get the notes down, you should really try to play along with the record or the CD or whatever you have, MP3, and try to get the rhythm down. Okay, let's look at the bridge part. So it comes off of this part. So what am I doing there? Well, there's actually 2 ways to play this part. George Harrison fingerpicks it on the guitar, which makes it really sweet. On the mandolin, you can do something similar, or you can just hit it as double stops. Either way works, and it's up to you, whatever you like to do. So it's actually a C chord here, and then a C major 7 chord, or a G voicing, and then a D, and then this little hammer on F sharp to an A chord. Starts with a pickup here of 2 notes. So that's on the A string. So after you hit the E7 chord, then you want to right? So what are we doing there? Well, the C chord here, you all know the C chord voicing, right? I'm just picking the 2 notes there. All right, so these 2 notes here, C chord, 3rd fret and 2nd fret. Then I just move 2nd fret, so 3rd fret, 2nd fret, and then open A and the low A note here. This is tricky. You can get a nice octave sound there. All right, so that's pretty cool. And that actually is over a D chord, but it's an A octave thing. Don't worry about the theory, just try to get that little part together. So, and then you hit F sharp, 4th fret here, open D to an A chord. All right, so one more time. right? But as I said, you could also play that as a double stop pattern like this. Just hit those notes together instead of arpeggiating them, right? Just hit them. And then you want to throw in on the A chord this little lick, you know, lift off that finger here, second fret of the D, gives you a little kind of a lick like that. So you see what I did there? And then you go to an E7 chord, which is I played here, first fret of the G string, open D, and second fret of the A string, like that. So one more time. And then E7. And then the count there is really weird. It's 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? It's like a 1, 2. It's a very quick count. Just listen to the song and play along with the record to be able to get that. So, and you have to do that little pickup again. So you've got the E7 chord here. Just lift this finger up and you're back into the pattern. Like that. Something like that there. That's the final little part of the bridge pattern, and it's off that E7 chord once again. And this time you just hit the A string open, still over the E chord, the A string open, and then you can do those two little pickup notes. So what is that? Well, it's A to A flat, which is right here at the 6th fret of the D string. So you're on E, right? You're on... First you hit that open A, then the B, and then that's a little bit different there. So I'll show you that. So you're on that E7 chord, right? You just go back to the A, open A, then you're going up to the 2nd fret, right? 2nd fret there. Then you go 2nd, open, 2nd, 5, up to that note there. And then you're back into the original motif again. So one more time I'll show you that funny little bridge pattern with the odd timing that throws some people off. It goes... Okay, and so on. Finally, that little descending C pattern, they do that 6 times before they go to the... So they go through this 6 times. They do that 6 times before the end. And that is Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles for mandolin, a really fun song to get under your fingers. Hopefully you'll be able to figure that out from this lesson. Really fun song to play, and I really enjoyed it. It's maybe my favorite Beatles song to play on Mando. Well, actually I have a few. I guess I couldn't say if this is really my favorite one, but it's certainly up there as one of my favorite songs to play on the mandolin from any artist, not just from the Beatles. Have fun with it, and thanks very much for checking out RPM. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, please hit that little red button on the way out. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you very much for your ongoing support. Please check out our Patreon page, link down below. My name is Mike DeJong. Thanks for watching RPM.